Hey guys, welcome back. How are you? I hope you are good and doing well. In this lecture, we will talk about a general but best practice in Rails project. And this is what is the best way of updating the existing column values in Rails. So, updating column values in Rails database might seem straightforward, right? But when it comes to choosing the best way to do it, especially in a production environment, it can get a bit tricky. Today, we are going to explore the best ways to update existing column values in Rails tables. I will walk you through different approaches and help you understand which one is best fit for your specific use cases. Okay, but before that we need to understand that why choosing the right approach matters. Okay, so when you are working with a small database in development, most update method will do the job without any noticeable issues. But as your application scales, or if you are handling millions of records in the production environment, performance and data integrity become critical in that case. Okay, so imagine running a simple update on a large database directly from the Rails console in production environment. Okay, and if it is not managed well, this can lead to slowdowns, data inconsistencies, or even downtime. Okay, I mean, let's say you have to update some values and there are multiple records that are being involved in some association and so on, and if the queries take too much time to execute, okay, then your operation might halt and your application will suffer with some slowdowns or downtime. Okay, and that's why it is essential to know the best way to make these updates based on your needs. Okay, so let's go over three main ways to update column values in Rails. The first one is migration, other one is active job, and third one is Rails console. Okay, and each method has its own strength and ideal use cases. Okay, so let's start with the migration. So migrations is a fantastic way when you need to make large scale changes across many records in a way that is easily trackable in a version control system. Okay, and we know that whenever we create a schema.rb, or whenever we are handling the schema.rb in the Rails project, every time when you create a migration, the version of the schema gets changed. Okay, so that's why migrations are the preferable and fantastic way in that case. Okay, for example, say you need to set a default value for a column across all users. A migration lets you make this change in a controlled way, which is great for production because it's versioned. Okay, and you can easily deploy it across different environments. Okay, and here is the example that you can see that what this migration is doing, that this has up and down methods. Okay, so here you can see that user dot where role employer. Okay, so here the typo mistake we have in the employer, that is employer, but the actual and correct spelling of the employer is employer. Okay, so but right now what mistake I did, that I mistakenly add this as employer. Okay, not as employer. Okay, so we need to update this. Okay, so in that case this migration is preferable. So in the up method, when we run the migration, it will perform the changes, and in the down method, when we roll back the migration, it will undo the changes again. Okay, and now the other best approach is active job. Okay, but active jobs are ideal ways for large data sets where you want to update records asynchronously to prevent slowing down your application. Okay, for example, you want your application to let run all the features seamlessly. Okay, and you don't want to halt any kind of execution while performing this database update. Okay, so active jobs are more better approach in that case. Okay, and this is also a perfect approach if you are working with millions of record. Okay, and don't want to block the app. For instance, you could create a job that updates record in batches to avoid overwhelming the database. Okay, and using active jobs keeps your main app responsive, which is critical for production environment with large amount of data. Okay, and you can also use active jobs for the periodically database updates. Okay, so you write a job and you can run that particular job at a specific time, and you can see an example of the active job, that how we can do that. So you can see we created a job here, and in the perform method what we are doing, that we are finding all the users which has the role employer, which is wrongly spelled here. Okay, and then we are using find in batches and mentioning the batch size is 1000. Okay, and then we are iterating all the users and updating the users one by one. Okay, however, if you wish, you can do it bulk update here as well, like using update all. Okay, just like we did in the migration here. Okay, so you can use that update all in the active jobs as well. Okay, but sometimes active job might take time if the record size is too higher. Let's say you have millions of user records where you have to perform this query, and uh, let's say if active job fails, then your database might be in inconsistent state, so you need to use patches there. Okay, and then you can perform this job using just like this, like a correct user role typo for employee jobs dot perform later. Okay, and now let's talk about the final way, which is using the Rails console. Okay, so you just need to open the Rails console in your development environment or your production console, and you can write a query like that, and then you can just perform this query. Okay, but this Rails console approach is handy for quick and one-off updates and testing changes in the real time. Okay, but it is generally not recommended for larger updates in the production environment. Okay, or even if the update is not large, you should not do this in the production environment. Why? Because you cannot track the version of your schema, and you cannot track the time that when you made some such changes. Okay, so you need to do this using either using migrations or using active jobs. Okay, and for the Rails console, you can use it for small updates like fixing a specific user's data, but be careful not to accidentally run a massive update in the production environment. Okay, so this is the example that you can do. So now, when is the best time to use each of these methods? So to sum up this approach, we can say that use migration for schema level or one-time updates, and active jobs for larger or periodic updates in the production environment, and Rails console for just quick and small fixes, and especially in the development and testing environment. Okay, because each method has its own strength, and knowing when to use each one will help you maintain a smooth, efficient Rails application. Okay, so this is about choosing the right way for updating the values of existing column for a table in Rails. But alongside with this, we also need to consider the fact that if we are using the previous column values in the code for some conditions, the previous column values, I mean that before running that migration. Okay, so if we are using that in some code for some conditions queries, then we need to update all those places as well with the new column values. Okay, otherwise we might face error. Okay, so here in our case we are using user role employer, I mean employer, which is the incorrect spelling of the employer. Okay, so we are using this at multiple places to check the user whether it's an employer or job seeker, so we need to fix that as well. Okay, so let's go to the Rails console and run the migration. So what you need to do, that open the Rails console. Okay, and in the Rails console, what you need to do, that first find if we have any users with that incorrect typo, incorrect spelling. So let's say user dot where role is employer. Okay, so this is the correct typo. Now if you run this, you will see that there are no records. Okay, but you will see that with this incorrect spelling, what we have, you can see we have 1006 records. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to run a migration. Okay, we need to generate a migration where we can update this role value. Okay, so what we need to do, exit from the Rails console, and then Rails g migration, sorry, migration. Okay, and then correct user role typo for employers. Okay, and once this migration get generated, you need to open this migration, and then you need to work with this. Okay, for example, let me make it higher. Okay, and then open this migration, and instead of change, what you need to do, up, down. Okay, however, you can use reversible blocks in the change method itself to get the up and down methods. Okay, so here in the up method, what you need to do, user dot where role is employer, and then dot update all Okay, and then here what you need to do, role as correct type of which is employer. Okay, and then update, sorry, updated it is time dot now. Okay, and then what you need to do here in the down method, you just need to use this query. Okay, now one can think that why I use updated it here, because update all is just an SQL command, okay, which performs the bulk update. Okay, so when you do this bulk update using update all query, it will never change the updated at timestamp of any record. Okay, so what we need to do here, that we need to set this. Okay, now since we generated the migration and added up and down method here, we need to run this migration. Okay, so just go to this, okay, and run the migration. So rails g sorry, rails db migrate. Okay, and when you run this, you will see that the migration has been done. Now open the rails console. Okay, and just try to find all the employees count with the previous value, which is employer. When you run this, you will see 0, and when you run the previous query, let's say count, I mean with the correct type of employer role, now you will see 1000. Okay, so all the existing values in the database has been set. Now what we need to do, that we need to test that whether this is working or not. Okay, so what you need to do, just go to the rails, sorry, go to the browser, and here just to refresh this. Okay, and let's sign out from the system and sign in again. Okay, okay, so this is still working, but we need to update this. So okay, this is working because we have something in the database. So let's open the user model. Okay, and here you can see what we are checking, we are checking method as employer. Okay, so just to correct this typo. Okay, and here as well. Okay, now find in this file that do we have employer at any place, so we need to fix this one as well. Okay, make it employer, and now let's find if we have employer at any place. Okay, so now in this model we fixed it. Okay, and now what we need to do, we need to find it all other places. Set control shift find and make it employer. Okay, so you will see that we have in application controller we have this. So open this application controller, and then what you need to do here, make it employer. Okay, and then you just need to change your applied job notification.rb. So here you need to make it employer. Okay, so now we don't have that. Okay, and then we have this in the notification mailer.rb. Okay, so you need to replace employer from all other places. So remove it, sorry. Okay, and now let's clear the search and find again. Okay, so now we have some changes. So now we have 21 matches across 9 files. Okay, so we'll just skip this migration. Okay, and let's open the seats.rb. So you can see we have employer at like this. So let's make it, replace this employer with employer, replace all. Okay, so now we have employer at all the places, no employer. So now if you find this, you will not find employer. Okay, so save this. Okay, and then you need to find it in the registration new.html. So here we also need to send employer. Okay, and then we need to search again just to see whether. So now you will see 11 matches across 7 files. Okay, so here First, you need to change the applied job.rb as well in the model. So here, you need to make it employer. Make this job change as well. Don't have this at any other place. Okay, and then app model job.rb. So here we also need to make it employer, sorry. Now offset, save this, and then company show.html. So you can see we have at two places. Replace all. Okay, and then in the application.rb. So let's change this as well. Okay, okay, and this is the file name. So if you changing it here, you need to make sure to change the file name as well. Okay, otherwise you will get the error. So let's change the file name as well into the shared. What we can do here, we can make it employer. Okay, then replace it. Now let's go to the find results again, close this, and let's find the employer again. So find it. So you will find still four matches across three files. Okay, so there are these two methods. So here what we need to do, employer name. Okay, so save this, close this, and this as well. So here make it employer as well. Okay, now just close this and find all the results again. So you will see that we have employer text now in only in the migration. Okay, so here we need that. Okay, so now you will see only two matches across one file. Okay, so that is fine. So you can see two matches in one file. Okay, so that is fine. So now what we did, we updated all the code base as well, and we updated the field value in the database as well. Okay, so that is what we need to do. Now if you go to the terminal, okay, and restart your server. Okay, and make sure to test all the things that you are working in right now. Okay, so you can see that there are no errors so far. Okay, and I will recommend you to test the mailers as well that we are sending, and test the active jobs as well that we are using, where we are using the employer word. Okay, so now all the fine. Okay, so we make changes into the we updated the value into the database, and we updated the code base as well along with that. Okay, and that's all for this lecture. Thanks for watching this. I hope this breakdown helps you make better decisions while updating column values in Rails. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you found this helpful. Okay, so thanks for watching this. We will meet into the next lecture. Till then, Tata, goodbye, take care, stay safe.